everybody. This is Trevor Truck ASMR, and we're back with more Truck Simulator, and we're playing European Truck Simulator. And already there appears to be a bit of an issue. I got so relaxed that I almost crashed. For those of you who received a startle from that, I apologize deeply. I'm a better driver than that. Well, you know, in most cases. This is just the joy of driving in Europe, I guess. Looks like a very nice, beautiful evening right now. And we're sort of on the tail end of this delivery. So, we're just gonna carefully get through this roundabout. And now we're back on this very sort of country road type of deal we got going on here. So, I'm sure that it might be unusual to think that ASMR could also coexist with a rant, but I do want to rant a little bit. I do think it's entertaining, you know, to get someone else's opinion on certain things. And the topic I'm about to discuss is pretty relevant for a lot of people. So, I'm sure many of you have heard the news about Netflix. And I think Netflix is just one of those services that needs no introduction. And I think we all know that Netflix has gone through its ups and downs in recent years. And of course, controversies. Plenty of controversies. And what's going on is that now Netflix finds itself losing subscribers. And by the way, you know, I'm not here to endorse or bring down any one particular streaming service. But when I see something that's clearly wrong, that's clearly backwards, I just feel like I've got to say something. I mean, trust me, this is not the most important thing in the world right now, but it is something that could potentially affect many current subscribers. So here's the thing. You know, people complain about the content on Netflix. A lot of the originals are, you know, they don't last very long. And let's not forget, you know, the hike in prices. And, you know, obviously those are legit things to talk about. But there's one thing that really, you know, gets under my grill, so to speak. Before I get into that, let's listen to the road for a little bit. just kind of like that pure road sound. Maybe one of these days I can do an ASMR with the truck windows open. That might be kind of fun. Alright, so back to my rant. So, at some point, it seems pretty clear now that Netflix will introduce advertisements in their category, in their catalog. I'm sorry, I literally just used the wrong word. Netflix will introduce advertisements. And I know what you're thinking. YouTube has advertisements. You know, some of the other streaming services have advertisements. What's the big deal, Trevor Truck? What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is kind of that Netflix started out as a really simple service. I don't know if you remember the old Netflix. You know, back in the day when it was, you know, it made most of its money by just, you know, people renting DVDs. You know. But then, even in the early days, Netflix offered something that no one else could. You know, very, very innovative ideas. You could stream a huge selection of your favorite shows, movies, TV. I mean, you had it all. And naturally, Netflix was so successful that other platforms decided to capitalize on the idea of, you know, a monthly subscription to stream everything you like. You know, that's just how it worked, right? But, you know, pretty much Netflix was the pioneer of it, and even when other services started to, you know, their plans that included advertisements, which, let me get to that in a second, but even when the other services started to use ads, even after you're paying money for your monthly subscription, Netflix remained pretty much glued to the old way of doing things, which was, you know, you pay a monthly fee and you get access to content without commercials. And when you really think about it, I mean, that was the main attraction to a streaming service. See, there's a secret about people that isn't really much of a secret. People are willing to pay money for convenience. That's why things like, you know, Netflix thrived, because it's true, if you want to watch a TV show, you could just pirate it, which, by the way, I'm not endorsing that. I'm not saying that you should, but I am saying that part of the reason why people pirate shows and movies is because back in the day, there was just no convenient way to access those. Netflix provided that. Netflix provided a space where you could, you could quite easily start to download, I don't know, were downloads part of Netflix in the old days? I think downloads were eventually added. By the way, I'm gonna take a rest. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning now. Anyway, the thing is, my point is that Netflix, in a small way, probably deterred a lot of people from pirating because it was a service that included a bunch of movies and shows, and all you had to do was just, pay a monthly fee. It was no big deal. And it seems like a really good deal. You could watch unlimited, no commercials. Seemed like a really fantastic deal, if you ask me. But now, this is 2022, and this is a modern age of advertising, And I look at Netflix as it is right now, and I don't think Netflix is the king anymore. It's probably another service. But Netflix has lost so many subscribers, so many shows. Like, for instance, I'm pretty sure The Office is gone, which is sad. I mean, I do own the DVD collection of it. Not saying that I'm an obsessed Office fan, although I could talk about The Office for a long time. Perhaps that will be the subject of another ASMR video at some point. But a lot of shows are lost, no longer on Netflix, and it's not necessarily Netflix. It's not necessarily their fault for that, but it is a fact that a lot of the content they had before is now gone because other streaming services have basically said, we own this now, you do not. And that's all there is to it. But even beyond that, the idea of having advertisements in Netflix content is abhorrent to me. It doesn't make much sense to me. If we have a contract where I agree to pay X amount of dollars every month to access premium content with no commercials, seems like a pretty fair agreement. I'm going out of my way to pay money for no commercials. But then, to not only pay money to access the content, but also with commercials, seems to me like adding insult to injury. You get slapped in the face and then you get humiliated. And I just don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. In my personal opinion, I don't think that I just don't think it's right to have people pay a certain amount per month and then also include advertisements, I mean, think about this. just to give you an example of how messed up this is. Imagine if you had YouTube Premium and maybe some of my viewers, maybe some of you all have YouTube Premium, so you know what it's like. But imagine that you had YouTube Premium and YouTube said, hey, you know what? Let's bring back ads. You know, you pay your monthly amount to avoid advertisements. But you know what? Let's bring the ads back. Let's do that. How would you feel? I mean, personally, honestly, I would feel cheated. I would feel like the value of the actual service has diminished. Once advertisements are introduced on Netflix, it's basically going to be, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for Netflix. They're already losing subscribers as it is, so. I think it's going to be really bad. I think there's going to be a huge sort of, there's going to be a backlash. You know, there already is in some ways. Basically, what Netflix is saying is that they're gonna continue to have plans that don't have advertisements, but those plans will be more expensive. But the advertisements will be offered at a lower cost. So in other words, a lower tier plan will be the plan that has advertisements. Now here's the thing. If you're currently on the lowest tier, who's to say that the tier that you're currently on isn't going to have advertisements, right? So it's something to think about. So in other words, like right now, I am on the lowest plan, which I believe is $9.99 a month. I could be wrong, but now imagine that is going to be the price point. That is going to be the plan where they introduce advertisements. And let me tell you, for me personally, I will be done with Netflix if I start seeing advertisements on my plan. I will be done with it. And, you know, I don't care if the advertisements are 30 seconds or a minute or 90 seconds. It doesn't matter. To have them at all is a crime in my book. And also, there's already a lot of product placement in shows, in movies. In fact, we are so exposed to advertisements that it's starting to become, you know, it's just getting so tiresome. It's getting so old. And it's almost like everything has to be an advertisement now. You know, you go on Facebook, you go on Twitter, you go anywhere, you're just going to be exposed to advertisements so much. So it would really be nice to have a place where that doesn't have to be the case. You know what I'm saying? But we're running out of places. We are running out of places, my friends. And Netflix is just basically joining the crowd. You know, and it's like when will there actually be a limit? I wonder. When are we finally just gonna put our foot down and say no more? You know. I think I would be genuinely surprised if Netflix reverses their decision. I do think there's going to be a lot of backlash. I think it would only be natural. But I would be genuinely shocked if the decision is reversed. I mean, I hope it is. I really do. I think it's a predatory business tactic, what they plan to do. Just because they can does not mean that they should, is all I'm saying. And, you know, some people might say the reason they're doing this is because their business is failing and they are falling behind their competitors. True. You know, maybe that is true. But I also don't think it gives any company the right to take out their frustrations on customers in that manner. I think if Netflix wants to survive, they gotta make better content. They gotta update their graphical interface. And they've gotta actually listen to people, what they want, what features they want, and what features they want removed. You don't just sit there and add advertisements as if that's going to solve every single problem. Because I can tell you, it's not going to solve all their problems. In fact, the only thing it can do is make things worse. So, that is just my 2 cents. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, but that's just how I feel about the situation, and I'm glad that I could take this time to do a little bit of a rant, because I don't know how often you see rants with ASMR components, but I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video for right now. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have an opinion, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Thank you all for your support of this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.